Jancy, is the instructions on our website yet, or should I send them
No.
in this chat? Okay,
Put in this chat, please.
sounds good.
Or if you want to email them to me, I can put them in as you go.
I think, well, it'll take me a while to get that email together.
Okay,
So
no worries.
I'm gonna put into our chat here the 3 different grants that we're opening up for you guys today that I'll be going over. I'll put them in one at a time. The first one I'm going to go over is the teacher director bonus, which has the new recruit bonus, the health and safety, and a couple others. So let's get that one in there first. Oh, okay. Says I can't send it until I close it, because I had it open to go over. So let me close this on my computer and send it again. So I don't know if you guys can see that file that says error. Okay. This one looks like it's going through. It says web author ARPA provider, teacher director bonus instructions final.
Yes.
All right. And I'm going to open up that one and share my screen. And we're going to get the instructions up on the website here at some point, but if you need them, again, I can email them or it's in the chat here. Just let me know. So for the early learning educator director bonus, once your guys's applications have been approved, and hold on, there's something weird in my screen. It's part of our Zoom call. There we go. Okay. So can you guys, Jancy, can you see my screen? It's the web author. Yes. Just because this is different than the Teams. I noticed Teams, my monitor turns red around the edges, not here. So you guys can see me scrolling?
Yes.
Okay, good. Yep. So this is, in my instance of web author, I can see all of your guys' accounts. That's why you guys see so many. But when you log in, you should see one of your providers listed here. So right now I'm going to be going with test provider. And your guys should look exactly the same where it says approved. It says pending on my side because I'm logged in as an employee, but for you guys, you should see approved. And you'll notice that there's 3 new buttons that have come up: educator director request, child success and class observer, and the continuous quality improvement. I'm going to go over all 3 of these, but we're going to start with the educator director request. You can click on it. And it's going to bring you in. This should look exactly the same for you guys. It should bring you in to the educator application, which also is for directors, you guys too. So let's see. The first thing that you need to do is add your staff. So any of your staff that you're going to be applying for these bonuses for them, you'll need to add them. So the first thing you have to do is click the add staff button to right over here to the right. And you can follow along in WebAuthor, or you can follow along on the directions if you want to do this later. You know, it's all up to you guys. But so you click add staff and it's going to ask for some information about your staff. I'm just going to put in some test information, but you'll put in their first name, middle name's optional, put their last name in, put their date of birth, social security number. I don't know if I put in 9 numbers. 1, I think I did. Let's see. Put in their home mailing address. And once you start typing, it'll, you know, kind of come up with some recommendations. If any of them are correct, you can pick one. Put in their email address, their cell phone number, work phone's optional, their position or title. They're either classified as a director or classified as an educator. Those are your only 2 options. If you want to put yourself or the director information in first, you can start with yourself, your position start date. If you're teaching any age groups, you can mark them here. If you're a director and you're not teaching any age groups or classes, you can just mark the NA. You can put how long you've been in the field. and a W-9. So if you're these bonuses are going to be paid directly to you, not to you or your staff, not to the provider. So you'll need a personal W-9. Even if you're the director, you'll need a W-9. If you don't have a recent one, there's a button here to download it from the IRS, and it's fillable through your computer here. So you'll notice that it's typable, the W-9. Once you've filled it out, if you needed to, you can download it, save it, and upload it. So I'm not going to fill it out, but I'm just going to upload a different file. But it is required before you can submit for each staff member. So if you don't have this stuff handy yet, or if you need to have your staff fill these forms out, you'll want to do this form when you do have that. So I'm just going to upload something random and save. So I did not get the social correct. Oh, my numlock's not on, that's why. Oh, it's still not going to let me save. Okay, now it should work. Okay, so I have one staff member in here. If I wanted to fill out this form for them, I could. If you want to continue adding more staff members, it might be easier that way. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a second one as a teacher so you can see what the different options look like. So this one, I'm going to make an educator. And I am going to have them start sometime since July 1st. Actually, I'll do July 1st of last year, because that's what would qualify them for some of these recruitment bonuses. So as long as they're hired on or after July 1st, 2022, they'll be eligible for the recruitment and the health and safety. I'm going to select which age groups I teach. We'll do infants and toddlers. New to the field, and once again, it's always going to require a W-9 for every distinct staff member. So I've got 2 staff members I've added here. You can always come back later. If you hire somebody a week from now and you want them to call, you can come back later and add staff. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and pick my director. And you'll notice that my director doesn't qualify for the recruitment, health and safety, and you can see the upskill director bonus here. So it'll gray out things that you're qualified for depending upon your position, director or educator, or depending on your hire date. So if you were hired after July 1st, there's certain things you'd qualify for. So these 2 are grayed out for me as a director, but I am able to apply for the class bonus for pre-K or infant toddler. This upskill director bonus, if you are going to apply for this here, you will not be eligible to apply for it again in the child success grants. I think you're better off doing it in the child success grants though. So if your class score is under 4 or you don't have a class score at all, and you plan on doing the child success grants, you as a director are going to have to do those trainings with your staff there. So you're going to get paid there rather than here. So you won't want to select this for yourself if you are going to select it in the child success grants. If your score is a class score, if you have one is 5 or higher, you are eligible to do this one here because you're not going to be able to do the child success grants.
Correct. It's
So,
either or. If you do child success, you need to have, oh my gosh, I can't even think straight. I'm sorry. If you're going to do upskill director, you have to have a class score of 5 or higher. 5 and under is child success.
So I'm not going to apply for anything for that director right now. But just wanted to show you some of those options. So let's go to test 2, which is my staff. And you'll notice that the staff members cannot get the director bonus, but you'll see this one because I hired them there. It's going to show their name and their hire date. You can see that I hired this person on 7/1/2022. So they are eligible for the recruitment, health and safety, and whichever class bonus foundation they want to take. This person, I put them as a pre-K teacher, I believe. You're going to have to submit your documentation for this. If they haven't completed the class bonus yet, but you're going to need to upload a complete proof of completion of background screening and proof of 120 hours of employment. So if you have this information already, you've got that documentation, go ahead and click it now. If you don't have one of those things yet, you don't have to submit this for that employee. And you can come back later after you've already submitted your recruitment and health and safety and add class later once you've got the foundations and the other Teachstone requirements. If you don't have the documentation yet, don't click it yet. You can always come back and add it later. But if you have the recruitment information and you want to get them their money as soon as possible, you've got your documentation, I'm just going to do those two for now. And it's going to pop up the spots to add the documentation. So for recruitment bonus, you're going to need to have proof of background screening and proof of 120 hours of employment. So if it's two separate documents, you can hit choose file, pick the first one, hit choose file again, and upload the second piece of documentation you need, support. Once you've uploaded your proof of your files, you're going to want to do the confirmation, selecting yes confirms that the requirements have been met and documentation of requirements are attached. So that's for recruitment. For the health and safety bonus, you're going to need to upload the certificate that the teachers received at the end of the training. Choose the file and hit yes. This part right here, so it's in red. It needs to be signed on behalf by the teacher. So they can either be sitting next to you as you're filling this out for them, or if you have spoken to them, they're somewhere else in another room, or they're at home today, but they know you're filling this out for them, you can call them, you can text them, sign via mobile device, and it'll submit. So I'm going to go ahead and do it that way just to show you guys how it works. I'm going to text myself. You must sit here though and wait for them to sign. So the text message I get says ELC of Flagler and Volusia counties, please click the link to capture your digital signature. I'm going to click on the link in my phone right now. Sign it. Hit save. And you'll see my signature popped up on my screen here. So I just signed that from my phone. So once again, you cannot sign this on behalf of the teacher. The teacher needs to sign it. They can sign it either while sitting next to you, or you can hit this little button that looks like an iPhone or something, or a smartphone, where it says sign via mobile device. You must wait for their signature to come through before you come down and hit save. So you can attest for them. And then this part is for you, sponsoring provider. Is the applicant a Florida resident? Does the applicant have the sponsorship of your early learning childcare program? Is the applicant still employed? They must still be employed to be eligible as well, because if they're employed somewhere else, they might be getting that recruitment bonus from someone else. Does the applicant meet the following eligibility criteria for the recruitment bonus? So have they completed a background screening, and have they completed 120 hours of employment? Then this is for you to sign and attest and hit save entry. Now, if you need to go back and add more, you can just go back to your dashboard here, and whichever provider you are, I'm going to go back to the test one because that's who I am. You should just see yours listed. Okay, here's mine. You'll see that my first staff member that I just did this application for is listed here. If you hit the little plus sign, you can see that I applied so far for the health and safety bonus and for the recruitment bonus for this employee. And right now it's in the status of reviewing, which means it's in the hands of the ELC, us, and we're going to be reviewing and approving. you just come back to this educator director request button. And I can do my other staff member here if I wanted to. I can add more staff, or I can come back to the person I've already submitted for. Let's see, this should let me. It should let me add, if I wanted to later, the class bonus. I'm going to make sure it works because it gives me this error. We'll see. If it's given us an error, I can fix it on our end, but I want to see if this will work. So if later you come back for that test 2 person that I just did one for, I just did the recruitment and health and safety. If you want to add the class after they've completed the 29 hours or the requirements and you have the documentation, finally you're ready. So it should allow you to. And they'll have to do the signature again. For now, I'm just going to sign because it's a test. Okay, this was working before. I know it was because we've tested it, so it's not up. But I'll make sure it works this way so you can come back and edit and add the class bonus later.
Audrey, did you want to show them how at the bottom they have the option to control what screen it sends them to after they click save entry?
Yeah, actually, it's a good point. So if you, well, it's not going to let me right now. So let me change this to my first director that I haven't the test for. And we'll say that I'm going to do the ups. Actually, I'll just do the class for that one now. So if you want to continue in this screen, like continue adding staff without having to go back out, like if you're going to sit at your computer and just keep doing this over and over again, there's a spot right here after saving, go to, and you can change it to either add new staff or you this one, the add new educator application might be the best one. So did I upload the document up here? Yes. So if I save now, instead of it bringing me to that detail thing, it brings me right back here. So if you remember that after saving, go to, you can change that to add new educator application each time, and it'll just bring you back here instead of having to go back to this dashboard, which I'm going to do right now, and then finding this button. So you can stay in that screen. Either way, this is where things are getting a little bit more complicated in WebAuthor. That's kind of why we're launching this out in these phases, so you can get a little bit comfortable, because there are a lot of ways to navigate to different things. And, you know, you guys might end up needing help. Don't feel scared or worried to reach out to us via that help form. So, once you've got all these approved, or I mean sent in, let me show you back to the test. So now you can see the director that I put in a class bonus for $600 is in the reviewing stage. And if I expand this one for my second employee named to test, you can see that I've submitted for the health and safety and recruitment, and they're just reviewing. So once they are approved or rejected, if something's missing, you know, you only put half of the documentation or something, these statuses will change and you'll be getting an email. So you'll get an email if it's approved, you'll get an email if it's rejected or denied, and it'll state in there why, you know, what you're missing, what you need to send us. And it's going to probably take a week at least before these start getting reviewed. But yeah, that's it in a nutshell for the educator director requests. Let me see, I'm going to go through the documentation a little bit more. Yeah, everything we went over, even, let's see. Actually, I don't, let's see. Yeah, everything that we went over to get you through this application process is in that document I put in the chat. Everybody, if anybody's joined late and you don't see the document in the chat, let us know. I'll send it again. But everything you'll need is in there, including a link to the help form in FormStack if you guys get stuck. So before I move on to the next one, which is going to be, if you can see my screen here, I'm going to move on next to the Child Success and Class Observer. Is there any questions so far about that educator director request?
We were answering some in the chat as we go. I see Debbie, you've got your hand up. Is that
I
for a
just
question?
Verification of hours worked. Can that be a letter from the director? Do they need to upload paycheck stubs? What is the
Paycheck stubs is preferable.
okay, perfect. Lower hand.
I went ahead and put the form in chat again. The cheat sheet, I'll call it. I don't see. I think we're good to move on to the next one.
All right. So I'm gonna close this document. Actually, I have to close the next one too, so I can send it to you guys. It doesn't like me to send it while it's open. This one. Yes. Okay, it says it's sent successfully. So in the chat, you should see the next one called Web Author, ARPA Provider, Child Success, and Class Observer Bonus Instructions, Part A, because this one's going to be a two-step. We're only going to go over Part A today. So for the Child Success and Class Observer, this is only for providers that either don't have a class score or their class score is below a 5. So if you guys are above a 5, you don't have to follow along right now. This won't be for your location. So when you click on that, I'm going to go back and do it again just so you guys can see it here. On my test provider, LMNOP QR test. There we go. So under my test provider here, I'm going on to this Child Success and Class Observer. This, once again, is for scores under a 5. When I go over this next one, continuous quality improvement, it's for 5 or above. So you guys are only going to be applying for one or the other. So this one, like I said, I'm going over first is for below 5 class score or no class score. So when you click on it there, the first thing it asks you, my score is under 5, I don't have a score, or my score is over 5. If you try and put your score is over a 5 in here, it's going to tell you up at the top, a pop-up, that it must be less than a 5 in order to submit this form. So my score is under 5 is just what I'm going to say. And it's going to ask you to indicate which grant options you are applying for. This should be the same thing. We'll check right now to see if it's working. It was working before when we tested this, but lots of things change all the time in here. If you're just right now submitting, actually this one, I'm sorry, this one doesn't require documentation. This is kind of like your plan sheet. So if you plan on doing professional bonus segment 1 and 2 and the performance bonus and whichever one of these director ones, I mean, I know you guys can have more than one director, but I'm doing more than one of these, but it's up to you which ones you want to select. You're going to have to submit documentation later. And this one right here does, you can change your mind. So if you want to put all of them that you are planning on doing all of these, you can. Like I said, it's not set in stone here. This is more just your general plan. What do you plan on doing for this Child Success and Class Observer grant? So if you are ambitious and you plan on doing all of them, that's fine. You can check them all. Let us know how many directors are going to be completing each section. So this one right here says professional development segment 1. I'm going to have 1 director and I plan on having 3 employees complete it. Fine. Same on the second one. I'm hoping me and my 3 employees are going to be able to do it. The performance bonus, same thing. It's just kind of what your plan is. It's not set in stone. We're going to be reviewing this at the ELC. If you end up having another staff member that you hire after you've filled this out, that's fine. We're just kind of trying to get an estimate, which you guys might have filled something very similar to this out already in the interest survey, if you've done that interest survey. So, you know, kind of like what your plan is. And I'm just going to put in 1 it doesn't, like I said, this is just a plan, what your plan is for having the providers and I'm sorry, your staff do these trainings. And then it kind of asks you the same eligibility questions that you guys might have already answered on the new eligibility form when you first did like 2 weeks ago. Some of you might have done it in the last few days. No problem. So are you contracted with a local early learning coalition? Yes. Are you under investigation for child care fraud? No. Are you on the disqualified list? No. Have you had a contract terminated within the past 5 years? No. And have you submitted W-9 and direct deposit forms for payment? Yes. And I'm just signing, you guys will just sign there. Attest. And this total amount here is the total amount that you'd get paid out if you ended up following this to a T. This is not actually any request for funds. This is just what your plan is. And we're going to kind of review your plan and just make sure it aligns with, you know, what we feel like your location will have. There's no documentation to be submitted or anything here. And you'll just save and submit. If you're not sure about this yet, you're wanting to work on it and you're not sure how many staff you're going to have do this, you can save your entry and come back and edit it later. But once you hit submit, save and submit, it comes out of your hands and into our hands. You guys won't be able to edit it anymore. So save and submit your plan. And it just brings you back to like kind of review what you just submitted. If you wanted to look at it. Also, you can scroll down and see some of your other educator applications, what staff members you put in so far, just kind of a brief overview of what you've got in there so far. But you can also see this information down at the bottom on this dashboard. It looks like a little newspaper icon. This brings you back to your main dashboard, which I think is a little bit easier to look at. So I'm going to go down to test provider, which is me. And I can see now that there's a child success and class observer plan that has been submitted. And I can see down here the staff requests that I've put for this one's the director, and then this is the new recruit and health and safety. So you can see all this information here. You'll notice since I have applied for the child success and class observer, the other one's grayed out now. So it will not, once you've started here, you will not be able to change over to the next one. And also, I think we've brought it up, but as a point, if you are starting here and you get a class score done tomorrow and it's a 5 or greater, that's fine. You can stay with whichever plan you've started with. If you do the next one we're about to do, continuous quality improvement, and your next class score ends up under a 5, that's okay. You're still going to get the continuous quality improvement. So wherever you are, wherever you're at in your class score, the day you apply is what we're going to use. So that one's not too bad there. So this one, once right now it's pending and we've put in what we plan to do. It's going to be in our hands, the coalition, and we're going to review and approve it. Then you'll have to come back. That's part B that we're going to talk about. And you're going to have to put in a documentation and each staff that went to the training and yada, yada. That'll be something different. So for now, you're just doing the child success and class observer, and it's going to be pending. And this is not the amount of money you're going to get. It's just what the plan is, what a rough estimate of around what you should get. If you followed it to a T, that is what you would get, or your staff would get. But so
that's mostly just to help us as we budget, so we know how much funding we're going to need for each type of grant.
And like I said, there'll be more work to do after we approve your plan or your budget. And it's going to be the same thing for the next one. I'm about to show you continuous quality improvement. And this is for those of you that have a class score 5 or higher. So let me go ahead and send that document. Oh, is there any questions about the
Audrey? Yeah, I have a question about that one. So our center, we've already completed, like would be segment 1, like the CGC. So we would still do the planning sheet and wait for approval. And then when the plan B comes through, we would just enter all the information that's needed.
Yep, part B. Yep, and it's going to be, I mean, just to let you know, it's going to be this next button, childcare supply building for you. It's going to, once we have hit approve on your plan, you'll notice that the childcare supply building button is going to turn dark gray, like so that you can start editing your staff and adding your documentation. So yeah, this, if you've already done it, perfect. You're kind of ahead of the game. Make sure whatever you've done it for, the director and the staff members that are involved, that you have that in your count.
And I just want to
Okay.
point out the training certificate has to be dated on or after July 1st.
July 1st.
2022.
Yep,
Of 2022.
they all are.
Okay.
And a question on that one, those are paid out the same way to the actual individual once those certificates are up. Okay, so it's not paid to the center, they're actually paid, they get a W-9 and all of that. Okay,
Yep,
Thank
and
you.
the directors will get their own separate one, and then the staff will get each of their own. I think the only one that I might go to the provider is going to be this continuous quality improvement, which I'm about to go over. But yep, for
Okay.
everything else, it's paid directly to the staff member themselves that attended the trainings and things.
thank you.
No problem. Sandy Emery, I see. I was told as a director that I could not apply. You should be able to apply.
So this is, if you are doing child success grant, then you cannot, as a director, do the upskill director grant. Is that what you're asking, Sandy? Okay, yeah, it's one or the other.
So yes, if you are a below a class score of 5 as of today, when you're doing this educator director request, you will not do the upskill director here. You will do it when you get to that point, when we start requesting documentation. You'll do it on the one I just went over, the child class observer. Child success and
Child
class
success
observer.
grant.
So yes, you will apply for it here. So you will put yourself in the count for the director on any of those that you do here in this child success and class observer. Let me see if there's any other questions.
I had a quick question. And I apologize, I'm just joining late. I was in a meeting. I have our class score was 5.53. And reading over everything, I don't see how we qualify for anything because we have a score over 5. Am I mistaken?
Just
No.
hold on a second. That's what Audrey's gonna go over next. You're eligible for
Okay.
continuous quality improvement.
And you
Okay.
are also eligible for any of the educator director requests. So the anybody that at your location that
New teachers
for the
and upskill, yeah.
and the upskill director bonus here, you are eligible for, but you will not,
Okay.
the one I just went over. So when you just joined, I
Right.
was going over this child class and observer, you will not touch that button for your location. You're going to come over and
Okay.
do this continuous quality improvement one, which I'm about to go over, but let me send out the documentation first.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm going to move on to the next one. So those of you with a class score below a 5 will be doing this child success and class observer one, and it's just your plan on what you plan on doing. It doesn't have to be set in stone. We just want to have an idea of how much funding we're going to need. Same thing's going to happen for this continuous quality improvement one, where it's kind of going to be your plan. And that's called Part A. So we will be going over the Part B for both of these on our next meeting. So right now you're just giving us your plan. And I'm sending the document. Okay, so there should be a new document in the chat called WebAuthor ARPA Provider Continuous Quality Improvement Bonus Instructions, Part A, final.
Yeah.
And let me open up that one now that I've sent it. And we'll start. So I have to actually really quickly delete my test one for child class observer because I can't apply for both. You guys don't have the ability to delete your stuff. Just I can. So once I delete this, I should be able to go back and apply for the next one. Yeah. So for my test provider account here, you can see, you guys should see both of these buttons available, but you only want to click this one if your class score is below a 5. This is the one we're doing now if it's a 5 and above. If you hover over the button, you can see it's attachment 4 of the ARPA supply build. and it's only for contracted SR and or VPK providers that have a class score of 5 or higher. First, providers submit an application, including training plan and budget. Approved providers receive payment and then submit individual training records. So you click on this button here and you tell us the date of your last class score and what whether it was a 5 or higher. If you select anything besides a 5 or higher, it's going to give you an error at the top. Your class score must be 5 or higher to submit this form. So my score is over 5, and the date of my last class score reading was, well, I'm making something up. If you don't have this information, you can do your best guess of when the date was, or you can reach out to us if you want the exact date, but we're going to verify this information anyways. So just do your best at figuring out your date. So next thing you're going to do, once you put your date and class score, is put in what your plan is. And if you guys have done the interest survey for this portion, it'll look a little bit familiar for this as well. You're going to be typing in your training plan. You're going to be typing in your priorities. I'm just going to do some fake typing right now. Your weekly
If you
goals.
hover over that little, I think it's an
I.
I, that gives additional information.
Yeah, please provide a brief overview of your training plan, including priorities, weekly goals, and planned outcome. And what we mean by that is a brief overview, priorities, weekly goals, planned outcome. So this little I is talking about the next 4 spots to type. So here you'll put out what your weekly goals are. Just gonna put in some text for now. Planned outcomes. You know, your teachers are going to have a better understanding of whatever your planning trainings is. You're going to add your course information here. So under the trainings, it says the programs must provide. Debbie, would you mute yourself? Sorry. If you need to talk though, unmute, no problem. Trainings, the programs must provide a minimum of 24 hours of training time for directors and staff. Training can include live coaching, live or virtual instruction, individual and group instruction, and other competency-based skill development exercises. Please provide the following information about the course trainings to be utilized in your training plan. Are there ones, Jancy, that are already approved? Is there like a list?
Yeah, so we started a list and I will put the link into the chat. And that's just suggestion. It's ideas for what to include in your training plan. We included a little links and some pricing in there as well. You are not tied into that. If you have other training opportunities, maybe through your curriculum, there's curriculum specific training that's available. You can put that in your training plan as well.
So you'll add, even if it's on our suggested list or it's not, you're going to add it here, which ones you've decided. I think we'll go review and verify what you're looking at and make sure that we approve the curriculum in a sense. But you'll just put the information here. I'll go ahead and do some fake typing again. So the course title, the course provider, so who's, I guess, teaching it in a sense or accrediting it, a description of the course, the training format, whether it's online, in person, however you guys are doing the training. The course cost for, Jancy, is this going to be for the cost for all the staff members that are going to be taking it, or the cost
Yes.
for it for one employee?
The total cost of the training. So if you purchase, for example, conscious discipline, and the total cost for all of your accounts is $1,000, that's what you'll put in.
Okay. And then that would be hours. It needs to be a minimum of 24, as it says up here. If it's more, that's okay. You can put in however many hours it needs to be. And if you're going to be doing multiple, you can hit this add more button to add as many different training types that you are going to be including in your plan. So if you're going to have half the staff take one, some of the others are going to take this other one. Any courses that you're going to be using towards this budget, just add them here. You can put in you need to put in your start date of when the training, if it's already started or it's past tense, that's fine. You can put in whatever date you started and whatever date it's ending, or if it already has ended. And for here, the next is your training participants. Once again, this is kind of like your plan of what you're planning on with your budget. So for each person that's going to be taking any of these trainings, you're going to have to just type their name out and select whether they're educator, director, or owner. Owner is an option here as well if you're the director but the owner wants to take some of the courses. So for me, because I'm just showing you guys, I'm just going to put in one. And it's the director. Okay, so this is where it's really going to get down to where it matters. So if this course cost is a little bit different, actually, I'm sorry, if this course cost, whatever you put down here, the only thing that's actually going to calculate in your budget, what you are submitting for, is going to be listed here under budget. So if course cost is one of the things, so you're going to be spending $1,000, you're going to need to make sure you put that here. So course costs, and you have it above, it's going to be 1,000. And put in your justification as well. So that's going to be to cover costs. And then if there is going to be transportation or compensating employees for their training time, so if they're going to be spending 24 hours, employee time, you can put that in, and budget. I'm not sure. It's going to be anything up to, you can see it's going to be adding up each of these lines. Right now it says total budget is 1,000. Let's just say you're going to spend 15,000 in compensation for their time. So each line item that you add, it's going to add up, calculate automatically in this total budget. Once you're done, you just sign, confirm that to your best of your ability that I confirm that this electronic signature is to be the legally binding equivalent of my handwritten signature. So you'll just attest to that, and that this form is accurate to your knowledge. If you don't want to submit yet, you want to come back and look at a few more things and make sure, you can save entry. But once you hit this save and submit, it's into the hands of the ELC staff for us to approve, deny, or reject. If we think that there's something, we don't approve one of the courses, whatever it is, you'll get notification of what the problem is if it gets rejected. But once again, I'm going to go ahead and hit save and submit, because this is going to send it to the ELC staff. It's going to ask, are you sure you want to submit this entry? I'm going to hit OK. And it brings you to this overview. You can kind of see what you have going on as overview of your whole provider location. I'm going to come back to the dashboard here, which the dashboard, you can always get to it by hitting the newspaper icon. The dashboard here, I think it's easiest to look at, especially for any of you that joined late. I'm going to go down to my one called test provider, which is right here. And you can see that I have, test provider. I have a continuous quality improvement pending. So it has not been approved. Jancy, I did send you an email earlier. So just because you guys are requesting up to, I think you guys probably already know, but up to 19,800 does not necessarily mean that you're going to get approved for that amount. So there is, once you have an amount that you're approved for, you'll get an email. If it, you're going to get an email no matter what you get approved, but your email is going to say you've requested this amount, you've been approved for this amount. It might be the same number, it might be a different number. But there will be notes in there that'll tell you anything that was pertinent to why we made the decision. But also, if you guys have any questions or concerns, that help form link is in this document as well. They're always at the very end of the documents I've been sending out. There's the link to the help form if you guys get stuck or have questions and concerns. Once we have approved this continuous quality improvement, so in this case, this is what we're showing. It'll say approved here for you guys. You'll be able to submit documentation. It's not gonna, we'll go over this, how to submit the documentation and things. And is it gonna be like 2 more weeks, Jancy? Or when do you want to do? So this is part A. I just did part A of the child success and class observer. This is part A of the continuous quality improvement. There is going to be a part B for both of you guys. If you're above a 5 or below a 5, you still are going to have more steps after this one, which is pretty much going to be submitting your documentation that supports your claims.
Yes, I'm thinking it'll be in probably another 3 to 4 weeks. We'll start going over the document submission, like certificate submission in those. Of course, I'll email you the date and the links to participate in that meeting.
So once we approve your guys' plans, no matter which, if you're on child success or continuous quality improvement, once we approve them, you're going to get an email. And Jancy, did you want to wait but to let them move forward, or do you want any of them that feel comfortable to be able to move forward?
I would suggest waiting for approval. If you're uncertain if the training may be approved or not, I would say to wait. If it's something that is on the list the link that I put in, I would go ahead and you can start those because we've already vetted those.
So this is going to be, so we will, as a coalition, start approving the educator director requests first, because you can imagine it's going to get a lot even for us to do on our side, let alone for you guys to do on your side too. But we are going to start paying and reviewing these educator director requests first. So for like the recruitment and the health and safety certificates and things like that first, because once we are approved those, they're ready for payment. These next two, the child success and the continuous quality, we have to review your plan before we can approve. And it's not even, for the child success and class observer, you'll have to submit your documentation and get payment for those after. I think for the continuous quality improvement, we might be funding that before you necessarily submit your documentation, but they're both a little bit different that way. Either way, point being is those are going to take longer to get payment and things out for than the educator director requests. So definitely any new staff you guys have had since July 1st, get them in here, get them money. I'm sure they'll be happy. I would. Let me ask. So yeah, is there any questions about this continuous quality improvement plan portion?
I'm just going to go through chat real quick. So the link to this meeting, yes, we will be putting this meeting and the forms on our website early next week. We will get that out to you. The deadline to apply for the grants, June 30th is the deadline, but that's also the date that the training must be completed by. So I would strongly encourage get your applications in early, especially for the continuous quality improvement. Like Audrey mentioned, if you put in for a grant amount, we may approve you up to that. We're creating a scoring rubric to look at how to equitably fund those grant opportunities. Let's see. Sandy, if you're getting observed in February, it usually takes, I think, 2 weeks or so, up to 2 weeks to composite your class score. So after the last assessment is completed. This money is to be used to train employees for their time. Doesn't it make sense to at least know the number of employees you'll be training and set? Yes, so for the continuous quality improvement, that's the information you will include in your training plan and your budget. If you have 10 teachers who are going to participate in the training and you're going to pay each teacher $100 for a bonus for completing the 24 hours of training, you will list that in your budget. And it would be total amounts. So if you're paying 10 teachers $100, that's a lot of money. It's math, 10,000. If new employees can earn 600 for their 23.5 hours, does that sound like a reasonable amount to pay current employees to continue training? That's for, I'm not going to answer yay or nay, because under CQI, you are the one creating your plan. You know how you compensate your staff. So, put in your budget. We will do our very best to hopefully have the funds to approve everyone. But like I mentioned, We are going to have a rubric. It's going to take into consideration the number of staff for each that each program has, so that we can divide funds out fairly. And I think those are the only questions. I don't see any hands, but
I do have a couple questions, but it's not related to this grant.
Okay.
One goes back to the recruitment bonus. No, I'm sorry, the health and safety bonus.
Mhm.
So I know that one you said that you have to upload the certificate of training. Now, if they tested out for DCF course and they don't actually have the training certificate, does that still count? Or do they actually have to have the actual certificate from the course?
they will have to have the actual certificate. It is for completion of the training.
Okay. So could they, I mean, see, like I said, they've already tested and passed it, so it's on their DCF transcript. Could they go back and take the course or no?
Yes. Yeah,
They-
as
yeah,
long
they
as
can,
it's
okay.
completed on or after July, the certificate is dated on or
Okay.
after July 1st. They can.
Okay. Okay. And then I had one other question for the Child Success Grant. So if we wanted to do segment 2, when we do it in this system, does that generate like information related to that training? Or is there something else I need to do for that?
Sure. So we have sent out, starting before Christmas, we sent out the supply build interest survey. And that is where we're collecting your information as to who wants to do the training. And so that is all for training registration. We hope to have a calendar finalized next week for all of the trainings for child success and the other opportunities. We're working with Teachstone to get those trainings scheduled. Yeah, so the first part and all of the forms you've done thus far, that's for registration. This web author, that's more on the back end of
Right.
Submitting the certificates and actually requesting the bonus funds. Does that make
Okay,
sense?
so do I need to go back to the survey to put interest in for segment 2 training?
You should have gotten a link. It's either going to come from quality email or from Erica, asking you for your teachers, your contact information, which we already have, but really it's just your teachers' cell phone and email, so we can communicate with them directly and they will be able to register. So if you have not yet done the interest survey, please go back and do it. If you've already completed one, you do not have to do another, just one.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Just going back to chat here. If you're paying the teachers $100 bonus for completing the classes. Angel, are you asking under the continuous quality improvement grant? I'll assume you are and answer that way. So with the continuous quality improvement grant, you will submit your training plan and your budget. Once we review the application and approve it, we will be issuing those funds to the provider. This is the only grant where the money is going to the provider. And then you will submit the documentation, completion of your training plan after you complete all of the training, as long as what you submit matches what you put in your training plan and your budget, you're good to go. Let's see, so thank you, Kim, for helping everyone offer us a great suggestion for how to compensate staff. The health and safety bonus, correct. The health and safety bonus is only available for new teachers hired on or after July 1st. Okay, I think I caught all the questions. Other questions? Well, I will, oh wow, we took the whole hour. So, like I said, we will get a link created to this recording and add it to our website along with the forms, and we will get that information out to you. We will continue with these Friday ARPA office hours. We've thrown a lot of information at you all in the last, I'm going to say, couple months. So feel free to log in, ask questions. We will not have a set agenda or presentation in the next couple of weeks. It's just an opportunity for you to ask questions. And certainly please reach out, use our ARPA help form. If you have questions, I've been playing phone tag with a couple of people. It's a lot easier for me to respond by email because I can multitask in meetings, but I can't take phone calls during meetings. So I want to make sure you get your answers, and I want we try to answer as quickly as possible. So I just encourage the ARPA help form is the best way to get your question to the right person. The email the training courses covered. So yes, I'm going to put that link. We have it on our website. Let me put that in here. And so I will go ahead and share my screen for a moment so you all will see exactly where I'm looking. Okay, hopefully you see our website. This is where we're adding the links, and where we will continue to add links for the meetings. This is for new teacher opportunities. If you want to see what the training requirements are for the class bonus pre-K, you click on that and it will list out the trainings that are required for that bonus. Same for the infant toddler. It'll list out those trainings. Continuing down, child success grant. We've called it both package A or segment 1. That whole segment is the class group coaching. That's 24 hours of training. And the package B or segment 2, those are 5 trainings that total at least the 24 hours. You do not have to do them in order. If you want to do package B and then package A, or you only want to do package B, you can do them in any order. It just has to be, each segment is at least 24 hours of training. The class observer director training, there's class observer tool, so you can become an observer. And then the CQI, like I mentioned, that's where you create your own training plan and budget. This is the link, these are the trainings to consider. You are not locked in to these trainings. You can certainly put others in your application, and we will be happy to review those. So I'm looking. Okay, are all of the training in Teachstone? Any of the trainings where we have specified which particular trainings have to be completed in order to be eligible, yes, they are all through Teachstone. If you're doing the continuous quality improvement, if your class score is 5 and higher, then you can deviate from Teachstone and look at other training opportunities. And encourage your teachers. We've gone through the interest survey, and we've sent out some additional requests and links so that we can get your teachers' contact information. We are sending the registration links to the teachers directly. So please encourage your staff. It may go to junk mail. Check and see. if they get an email from quality or quality@elcfv.org or from Erica E. Garris at elcfv.org, they are legitimate emails, even if it goes to your junk folder. But those are the emails that have the registration links for them to sign up for the specific Teachstone trainings. I think I got all the questions in chat, but if I missed one, feel free to speak up. Okay. Oh, wait, here we go. What is the minimum hours a substitute has to work to qualify? That's a question that has not come up before. So let me go to my, you'll hear me say it a million times, let me go to my guidance. And early learning educators include owners, teachers, family homes, directors, preschool teachers, assistants, before and after school teachers, assistants, and substitutes. So as long as they are listed in one of our systems, QPS, as a teacher, then you're good to go.
I think the 120 hours would still apply to them then, wouldn't it?
For the teacher recruitment, yes, it's 120 hours of employment if they're hired on or after July 1st. Every time I say, okay, we're going to finish up, there's another question that pops up. So I'll give it just a little bit more and then we'll officially and finally end. You are very welcome. All right, well, I'm calling it. Feel free, like I said, join us next week and reach out if you need help. Otherwise, happy Friday and have a fabulous weekend. Bye, everyone.